Hello, how's everybody getting on? So yes, it's deadline day, so we just thought we'd jump on and do a kind of a deadline day special discussion of what's happened so far and what could possibly happen between now and the deadline day at 11 o'clock. Straight away, 54 watching, which is really, really good. If you don't mind as well, smash that like button as well if you don't mind, if you're watching the stream. Joining us, we've got Jacob. Jacob, how's your day been glued to the radio and the television to see what's been happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably the busiest summer transfer deadline day we've had in a very long time, I should say, and it's not over yet. There still could be plenty of twists and turns, so who knows?
Exactly, who knows? But in the chat, so Las Palmas Macam says, evening lads, the bedwetters hopefully satisfied. SAFC Fan TV, evening all. It's wastefully dusting off the camera and the mic. I wish he was down there. It would be great if he was. But David Watts says, hi lads. Macam 1973 says 4 quality signings. Weathers, how are the lads? Bring them all out on the pitch tomorrow at half time. If they aren't able to play, get the fans going. Conrad Tanks says, evening all. David Jobbin, good luck to Rod Stewart. What a difference a day makes. Weathers, good Gooch to Stoke has just been confirmed, so I haven't seen that one, but it must just have been announced. What a day, 7 players were going to leave, and I think none's left. I don't know yet. It's random. KTM says, all right, lads, what do you think so far? Hi, lads, from Carl. Ryan McCormack, good evening. Hodge, all right, lads, watching from Cancun. Chris Johnson, never really understood why the majority of our fans don't wait till the window was shut before having a potential meltdown. Some of the comments last 20 hours have been embarrassing. David Weir, I think we have done after the 2 French lads get confirmed. And Stephen Martin says, hi guys, I would like maybe 2 more in. So Jacob, if we look at today, like I've just been saying, there's been a lot of noise over the last few days, us included, about the lack of signings and who would get in. Well, we've signed the lad from Chelsea today, Mason Burstow. I don't really know too much about him. I don't know if you've done any research before we came on. Have you had a look at him and see where he's been or what he's done in the past?
Well, all the clips have spread like wildfire on socials through Sunderland media. Is showreel, but we've seen many of them over the years where there's been too much pressure added on to these young lads coming in at the start and it's backfired. But it's not been the case recently with some of the other young players we brought into the club during Speakman's era. So hopefully this can be an effective signing added to the list for the decent replacements he's made so far in his tenure at the Stadium of Light.
You think coming from Chelsea, he must have a decent background. The clips I've seen, he does look big and strong and powerful. He's a young lad, but he looks like he's got loads of potential. Like I say, Chelsea, I know they've got that many youngsters on the books, but he looks decent. Time will tell. Also, as well, we've signed the long drawn-out saga of Nazari Ruzjan. That's now been confirmed. That one's been in the pipeline for quite a few weeks now, but nice to get that one over the line, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we knew, I think, for the past week or so that he was going to sign, but we've left it till deadline day. But he's finally through the door, and yeah, I don't think even if he was fit, I think is it past the deadline for him to play somewhere in that, but I think he's arrived coming off the back of an injury anyway, so I don't know whether he'll be fit for QPR after the international break. Only time will tell. But yeah, going back to, we'll touch on Russia in just a little bit after I've mentioned this, a comment from Christian Speakman about Mason, who we brought in, the striker, I should say, Mason Burstow, that's it. Mason is one of the brightest young centre forwards on the cusp of the Premier League environment, and he is a player that we have monitored for some time. The moment that he became available, we did everything within our power to ensure we were his preferred destination, and after fielding multiple offers from the UK and overseas, we are delighted that he has chosen Sunderland. Mason is a mobile number 9 with experience in the EFL, and he has had a really positive impact on Chelsea's first team squad this summer. So we are excited to see the impact he can make in our team. I mean, comments like that, it's light at the end of the tunnel, but then again, only time will tell. Only time will tell.
And I'm guessing, coming from Chelsea, they're going to be expecting him to play quite a few games. I'm thinking, similar to when we signed Mishu, do you think it's going to be in his contract that he does get quite a bit game time? I'm guessing it will be.
Yeah, that's something. There's normally clauses in contracts, especially if you come in from a club like Chelsea where you have to play a certain amount of games. But yeah, like I said before, only time will tell. We don't want to add too much pressure on the lad, considering he's a replacement for Ross Stewart, which we'll touch on in just a moment, who the deal is likely to go through now. We were hearing rumours during the afternoon that it may have fallen through because of the bad injury that he's still recovering from. But no, the green light's been done. Stewart's away, and we're hopefully going to use the money we're getting for him to great effect now.
Definitely. I was reading somewhere this afternoon, apparently that AC Milan were trying to sign Burstow as well at one point. So,
wow,
if the club of that sort of if that caliber after him, it bodes well for the future. Back in the chat, David Waters says, think we'll be done for 2 French. That's confirmed. Philip Asham, permanent deal for Gooch to Stoke. DJ says, Watson, evening everyone. Chris Johnson says, swapping Lynden Gooch for a lad that has played 4 times for PSG last season is possibly the greatest transfer of any window. Brian Watson says, do we not think we're buying too many players? And I never thought would anybody say that in the chat.
No.
Sean Hopkirk says, any news on Crespo? We'll touch on that one in a little while. And Colin Midge says, the proof will be in the pudding. Let's hope. So also it was brought in the last hour or so that the 2 lads from France, Timothy Pembele and Adil Awashishi, I think that's how you say it, from PSG.
Yeah, so just to remind everyone, if we're saying these names wrong, we'll hear them on commentary later on as the season goes along. We'll be able to pronounce them a lot better. We'll never know this time.
I think we'll try and sign players with the most complicated names. I think that's how it works. But then, like he's a right back from PSG again, another young lad, and this winger from Lorient. Obviously, you can't make any judgments until you see him firsthand. But again, the reports coming out of France that these 2 lads are highly rated, massive prospects. So again, I don't really know too much about them apart from the little bit of research I've done. But any research, Jacob? Have you any thoughts on the 2 of them?
It's with Timothy Pembele. I think that's how you pronounce it. A right back, I believe, wing back / right back. But Trey Hume's there. We've got Niall Huggins, so we've got 3 right backs now. So, I mean, can he play on the other side as well? Who knows? I mean, the good thing about Huggins is he can also play on the left as well. So that's obviously a bright spark. And if Danny Bart leaves, then you'll also look at the positivity, the fact that Alessi can play as a centre half as well. So if you think about it, it does make sense bringing in another fullback in a way.
I mean, obviously we're looking at these and they're all young lads. Do you still think that we should be looking at an element of experience? I know we've been linked with this lad Miguel Crespo, I think it is, from Fenerbahce, and he looks like he looked a good player. Now, I don't know how talks are progressing. Apparently we made contact, but it seems we've all gone quiet for the last half an hour, so I'm not too sure where that deal stands. But this afternoon there was kind of a lot of talk around reaching out to him. I know Fulham were after him as well, but apparently he rejected some kind of move he was offered.
Well, look at the fullbacks we currently have at the club in Dennis Sirkin and Trey Hume, and also Huggins as well. When we first brought them in, what value would you probably rate them as? And obviously, what value would you rate them now, more or less? So that's going to be, I think, we have to come to terms now. It's been, I think, 2 to 3 transfer windows where this is going to be sort of the transfer strategy that's going to be in place for the foreseeable future. If it pays off, fair enough. If it doesn't, you can understand why the fans will get on the board's back a little bit. But then again, no one expected with the player, even the players we brought in, the talent we brought in last summer, that we end up in a playoff position. I'm not sure whether that will be that. I think it will be a little bit too much of an ask this season, considering the added quality that's in the Championship now. But who knows? Honestly, who knows? It's I think there'll be a tad more pressure to deliver this season than last, considering it's our second season in the Championship after being promoted back. But I think, these players, I think they've been tracked I should say, by Speakman's team for a while. So hopefully they can deliver.
Yeah, spot on. It's impossible to get every transfer right. You're not going to get everyone spot on. But, the majority of the ones that we've signed so far, with probably the exception of Lahaji, they've all gone on to kind of get in the first team and have some sort of influence on the first team squad. Back in the chat, says Crespo is probably happy his wages are too big. Ryan McCormack says, I've heard Roberts is staying. Yes, the Roberts deal is off. He's staying. Southampton have pulled out of the deal after we rejected the $5 million bid. Keno says, agree with Chris on the folks waiting till the window shuts before chucking the toys out the pram. He also says, how long is it before Evans is back? I'm not sure. I think he's back on the grass, but I'm not sure how long it's going to be before he's back playing. Chris Johnson says it's gone with the radar today, but Tommy Watson apparently signing a new deal. It's fantastic news. Yes, he signed a new contract, which is another one good for the future. He's another good young prospect. David Waters says, so far, but Stewart should get done too. And Matthew Cutter says, thoughts on Elliot Embleton going out on loan. So on Elliot, I think that we were told this afternoon that he was going to be featuring in the game tomorrow, and then about half an hour later, he's on his way to Derby. Me personally, I think he probably would be away from the first team picture, so I've probably gone out to get a season on loan to get his back from the injury. Might not be a bad move, Jacob. Do you think? I think it might not be a bad move for him to get another.
For me, listen, I really like Elliot Embleton. I always had. He's been so unlucky, with injuries he's had from the start of his career. Percy, I would like him to start. I think, looking at it in hindsight, I think maybe the recruitment team and Mowbray. Let's not forget that he's been sent out on loan already. He had a successful loan spell at Blackpool, down in that division. So he will be an effective player for that league. But Percy, I think he can be effective in the Championship as well. I think it'll be tougher, but he's got the capability with the players around him to improve him. But considering we're loaning him out, I'm not sure what, based on his contract situation, is he another player going into his final year?
I think so, yes. I
think that could suggest that he might be away within the next year or so. But yeah, who knows? I like Elliot. I've met him once or twice. Nice guy. So if he stays, wish him all the best. But if he goes, then wish him all the best, and hopefully he can make a difference at Derby this season.
I think he will. I think in League One, I think you've proven when we've done that. He's a good at that level. He's exceptional. It's just kind of making that step up to Championship level. Like I said, the injury didn't help last year, but I'm thinking now if he's gone to Derby, does that mean that potentially Pritchard, and I've only got 2 hours left to go before the end of the window, but it's looking likely Pritchard's going to stay, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, Pritch staying, I think that's what most of the fans would have wanted if you asked them that question yesterday. Pritch, I think it's been made clear from the past week that not only he's effective on the pitch, I know he doesn't fit the model that the club are trying to go down, being 30 plus, but at the same time, I think he must be such a key member to that dressing room, and the players must respond to him, in the right way for him to stay, considering he's got 1 more year left on his contract, and other players who've had that, like Stewart and Gooch, have been moved on.
Aye. Gooch, that's another one just been confirmed in the last 20 minutes. So it's a good move for Lynden Gooch, actually. And we've replaced him, but I don't think we've replaced him with this lad from PSG, kind of that kind of utility player out and filling right back and centre half. Back in the chat, Rob SAFC says he doesn't think we'll see Embo play a game for us, to be honest. Conrad taxes Matthew Cutter. Good move, since Embo probably won't be a starting player for some of the season. He needs proper game time. Lewis says, did the Stewart deal go ahead in the end? It's still ongoing. He's still down there putting the final touches. Apparently, it's still going to go ahead, I think. Will Alan says, all the best to Gooch, a true Macklin. Lewis also said about Roberts, the Roberts deal's off. Oliver Astrances is fully at the EOL. Unfortunately not.
Nah, dear guys, sorry to disappoint.
Conrad Tice, all hail Gooch, classy team servant. Well, he has been a massive servant of the club. He's been at the club since he was 10, I believe. David Walker says Stewart still not confirmed yet. No, well, Stewart hasn't been confirmed, but it's looking more and more likely that he's going to go ahead. But if we look at the transfer window overall, Gabe, we've potentially at this moment in time got 9 players in. If we get these 2 over the line as well, that's potentially 11 signings this transfer window. Look at the likes of Bishop, Triantis, Sealed, Bellingham, Dak, Mayenda, and obviously Russian Adir, Burstow, and Emir. Do you think it's been a successful window? I know we don't really know too much about these players.
I raised this debate with you last. Let's be honest with ourselves here. If Stewart was fit and ready and could play a part in pre-season and the start of the season, he would have gone by now. Simple as that. And we would have used that money to have players in for the start of the season and ready for the first 4 games. That's a matter of fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's just the timings smacked us in the face, unfortunately. Let's just hope only time now that if these players coming in, were they panic buys or were they players that Speakman wanted the whole time, but he just couldn't get them in until the Stewart money was available?
Good shout, exactly right. And also, if Stewart had been fit and he was scoring goals, would have probably getting more than £10 million for him. To tell you the truth, would he getting? Well, we've got a guest joining us. We've got our overseas reporter who's just joining the street. Hello, Emma. How are you?
Hello, Wayne. I'm not bad. How are you?
Greetings from wherever you are on holiday.
Just somewhere better than we are. That's a certainty.
Well, it's 27 degrees here, and I'm a bit hot.
Well, I don't know how much you've seen, Emma, of the transfer window, but we've signed confirmed 2 players today. A striker, or 2 strikers actually.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Mason from Chelsea.
Yeah, Mason Burstow from Chelsea, and Rusjan's been confirmed as well, the Ukraine lad.
Right, I didn't know he had been confirmed.
We've also, there's 2 at the Stadium of Light, the Academy of Light at the moment, another 2 French lads, a winger and a right back. They're going to get confirmed in the next hour or so. So it's looking like we're going to have a decent window. Ross Stewart's deal is still going to go through, looking like. Roberts is staying, which is good. And apart from that, it's all been pretty quiet.
Apart from that, at least it's a busy one this time.
Yeah. I might remember in January.
Yeah, me and you, it was just like
all our business turned out to be good business in the end, but no action on deadline there.
Yeah.
But in the chat, so around the comments, Lewis, Southampton have pulled out of the deal. Yeah, we've said that because we rejected it. They pulled out the deal. Keno says the whole transfer window is a fitting nightmare. Should be closed before the season kicks off. But that's a point we've always been saying, hasn't it? Then should the transfer window be closed before the season starts and everybody's business is done?
Well, they did that, didn't they? Like they only stopped. They brought it back, I think, about 2 years ago. I think for about 3 or 4 years they had it slammed shut before the start, and now it's. I personally like it this way, to be honest.
It's more exciting, and it's more exciting.
Yeah, it reminds. But I do agree with some point. Like, if that's your squad for the first couple of months, that's your squad. You know what I mean?
Emma, what's your thoughts? Do you think the transfer window should be shut before the season starts, or is it more exciting this way?
Ideally before the season starts, because obviously we need to know what we've got to work with for that season. But then I kind of like the excitement of deadline day and, can we get this person? Can we get that person? But then with Sunderland and obviously Speakman and stuff, it's like, is he actually going to bring anybody in on deadline day? So it's like mixed feelings on that one.
I think we were all panicking, thinking today was going to be a washout, didn't we? I think we're going to end up with nobody. But it's looking, and all these lads are unproven again. But at least we're getting some lads through the door.
We did sign Diallo this time a year ago, didn't we? So
I did.
Lightning does. Hopefully, Lightning strikes twice.
Well, let's just hope for this lad from Lorient. I've just been reading in the chat. Actually, there was somebody put a comment in the chat there for to say that lad, he looks decent, but he missed 9 months. Or Pembelli, looks interesting, but he missed 9 months due to an ACL injury in 2022-23. So that's, I mean, Bradley Dax had the same injury twice, hasn't he? So,
according to Wayne, just obviously to interrupt, according to the forums and the so-called media outlet that's online revolving Sunderland tonight, added to the 2 lads coming in who are having medicals now, there could be one more player through the door, but I think that could depend on the Danny Bart situation, personally.
Does that mean it could be another defender coming in?
I'm not sure. I think maybe a defensive midfielder, a wide player, maybe. I think defensively we're sound, to be honest. I think even if Bart goes, like I said, unless he can play as a centre-half, you got 09 there, Ballard there, still the Dutch lads, Trientis, full-backs, Huggins, Alessi can play there, Hume and Sirkin as well. So I think defensively, I'm pretty satisfied, to be honest with you, even if Bart goes. But I think letting a former player of the season leave, it will always be a risk. But then again, we have lost a goal scorer and a player who's been there for 10 years in Lynden Gooch today. So who knows what the effect could be.
I think so. Gooch has gone to Stoke. It was confirmed about 10 minutes ago. He's gone to Stoke on a permanent now. £1 million of getting for him.
I'm
not happy.
I'm devastated. I mean, he was 11-year-old or something when he came to this club. He's gave his heart to this club. He broke the Wembley voodoo when nobody could go because of COVID. You know what I give up. I'm gutted about this.
I'm pretty. He was close to leaving when we were in League One when Neil was in charge. When it was it Shrewsbury who came in on the last day, and then Neil turned around and said, "No, he's staying." So,
well, I think Neil kind of reinvigorated his career, didn't he? When he came in, I think he put him switched him to full-back, and then he went from kind of strength to strength and kept him the side, didn't he? So. It's a blow for the lad. You know, like you see, he's been here all them years, and he'd run through a brick wall for Sunderland, wouldn't he?
But considering, I remember his debut under Moyes. He came in as a central midfield player, and he sort of adapted into this wide player over time. We saw him. I think that one season we had in the Championship where we went down, he was still a central midfield player, and I think we just converted him out wide when we went into League One, and it just started from there. I think he found his natural position from there on.
I mean, I don't blame the lad. His contract wasn't getting renewed. He's got a wife and he's got a couple of kids. He needs to do what's right for his family. So, in a way, I don't blame Gooch, and I thank Gooch for everything he's done for the club. I really do, and I'll miss him for one.
Well, Em, if you're that much of a Gooch fan, comment in the chat tonight. Love Supreme. Well, I don't know if this is true. Selling their Gooch tops for £1 if you're interested.
They are.
Champion. Yeah. That is a deal.
I don't know what sizes they have available, but who knows.
On Lynden Gooch, right? I'll just quickly read this. He's put a statement out on the club website. No tears, Emma, when you read this, mind. So ever since I came to Wearside as a 10-year-old boy, all I've ever wanted to do was play for Sunderland AFC. I've been incredibly lucky to have played for the club for as long as I have since making my debut in 2015 against Exeter and my Premier League debut against Manchester City. Memories that will live with me forever. I have made friends for life, and Sunderland is the place that me, my fiancée and my 2 boys will always call home. From the Academy of Light to the Stadium of Light, thank you to all the staff who have helped me along the way. I can't express how grateful I am for everything that you've done for me and my family over the past 17 years. I wouldn't have made it to where I am today without the support and guidance from Kevin Ball, Jed McNamee, Elliot Embleton, and Leanne Cooperthwaite, and so many more to name in my early years. And to all the first team staff, kitchen staff, cleaners, analysts, media team, and everyone in between, thank you very much. I want to give a special shout out to Leanne Bennett, Karen Casey, Steve Aziz, John Cook, and of course, Audrey Hannah for looking after not only myself, but my family year after year. I have built amazing relationships with all of you, and I will miss seeing you every day. I joined Sunderland because it felt like a family club, and I truly believe that it is to this day. To my teammates, past and present, thank you for being part of my journey. I've loved going into battle with you every week, and I couldn't have achieved anything without you. Lastly, to the fans, it's not been an easy journey together. We endured back-to-back relegations, 2 devastating defeats at Wembley, the challenges of the pandemic, and then more playoff heartbreak, but we got there in the end. You weren't there with me when I scored in the EFL Trophy final, but you made sure our promotion back to the Championship was unforgettable, and being a Wembley winner with you was something I will always hold in my heart. Above all else, walking out as captain last season with my son at a packed out Stadium of Light as we fought to get back in the Premier League is my most cherished memory, and one that nobody will ever take away from me and my family. Thank you for all the sticking by me through all the difficult times. I give everything for the club every single day, and always stood up and be counted no matter the challenge. I hope I represented the club like a true Mackem should, and I will be back on the terraces one day supporting to the Red and White Wizards with you all. How are the lads, Lynden? How was that for a statement?
Want to get tissues out, to be honest.
Honestly, just shows you, what the club meant to him. Like we said, we all knew we'd run through a brick wall for the club, wouldn't we? It's just
you've got to take that into account. I mean, there's times I'll hold my hands up. I've criticised Gucci on some occasions, whether you'll be able to cut it if we cut it out in this league if we did go up, but I think he's proved a lot of people wrong with that first season performance, to be honest, particularly playing at right back in that run we had towards the end of the season. I think he was fantastic, and he must be a real fan of his enjoyment when he played under Alex Neil, and he's going back to relive that, so fair play to him.
Yeah, wish him all the best. Like I say, he's been an absolute out and out true servant of the club, so wish him all the best for the future. Really, really do. I mean, he's only 27, 20. He's not at all either, is he? He's still like late 20s, is he?
27.
He's still probably might have his best year ahead of him. We didn't know. Very quickly back in the chat. Will Allen says all the best to Gooch, a true Mackem, yeah. What else have we got on there? Will Allen says who is Crespo? Yes, Jacob.
What surprise? I mean, considering he's gone to Stoke, I mean, I thought they thought they were under a transfer embargo. That's what I thought.
There were, I think they got lifted at the start of the season. That's when I think they've made something like 15 signings.
They made some decent buys this summer, didn't they? They've started the season pretty strongly, Stoke. Anyway,
yeah, actually the centre forward they got. I think he scored 2 or 3 out of 2 on his first games. That's right. Richie Douglas says, "Where's Wee Philly? Honest, had tears rolling out of my eyes the last few transfer windows." David Jones, if we only lose Stewart and Gooch and gain these 5 players, we have improved massively from last season. Fair comment. Will Allen says need a defensive midfielder. Conrad Lee, member for 25-month. Evening, Conrad. How we doing? Evening all. Ian Wilson says first class. Keno, really great words from Lynden. Lovely to hear. Thean, evening all. Just hoping for one more after Anoichi and Pemberley. Again, apologies for the spellings and the pronunciations. Hope it's an out and out central midfielder with a bit of experience. So that's the one you've just been talking about, Jacob. Hope it's a defensive midfielder with experience. I mean, I'd love it to be this Crespo lad from what I've seen of him.
That's the main bread and butter I think we're looking at.
Ian Curry says, evening, chaps and Emma. You want to
I read something, it must have been a couple of hours ago when I had a quick look, but apparently we're trying to get Mishu again.
We were trying.
Apparently.
We tried to re-sign him, but apparently it's fell flat. But that was the talk today. We were trying to re-sign him, which I thought was a bit of a strange one, considering he last season he didn't want to play for us because the style of football didn't suit him. But would you have took him back, Michu?
No, I wasn't a big fan of him, and I've openly admitted on streams before that I haven't been a fan of Mishu, so I wouldn't take him back. I was just very surprised when I did see that we're potentially going back in for him. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why?
I'm the same opinion. I wasn't too fussed when we didn't sign him the first time. So to bring him back, I don't quite see where he would fit in. Would he come back to sit on the bench again? Probably not. Right.
There was a period where he was playing and coming off the bench regularly, but I think since that game with Barr at Norwich, Barr's had more minutes than him.
Yeah.
So he must have, and he must really think that Abdullah Barr, either it's not quite his position's wrong at the minute, but he can make a difference as the season goes on. I think that's Speakman believes that as well. Obviously, you've seen the photo with Speakman having a chat with him after the Rotherham game, whether that's him not being happy with the game time he's getting, or Speakman has brought him into the club believing that he can be a real asset. And from what I've heard, this is from inside things that I know, Abdullah Barr apparently in training, he's absolutely on fire. He's ridiculous. You can't get the off him. He's one of the most skillful players in training.
Ian Curry says Barr is crap, to be honest. So straight to the point. But like I say, there must be something there in training. Like I say, you wouldn't keep on playing him, otherwise there must be a player in there. They must say we see them they see him day in, day out. So there must be something about him.
It's not going to help sticking him out wide. I've said that since the start, that first Ipswich game. It's just not working there, until we've got the players in now, which I think will be able to allow him to play in his best position in the side. We've got more width in the team there.
There's a lot of love for Gooch in the chat as well. Understandably so. Ian Curry, Gooch. All the best to David Joblin. 196 people watching, what's that name?
I was just going to say, I'm a bit concerned that obviously Gooch is gone. He was a bit more experienced. The players that we're getting in, they're all young lads. And if we're getting rid of Bath, if Stewart does go, who have we got that's experienced players on that goddamn pitch with the age?
Pritchard's now staying, apparently.
Pritchard looks like Pritchard's staying. But I get what you're saying. Looking at the experience in the side now, if all of them were to go, our two most experienced players would probably be Bradley Dack and Pritchard, with possibly Luke O'Neill the next one.
I'd throw O'Neill in that bracket now.
O'Neill. This is what we've been saying. We are still lacking experience, big style, and I just think through the spine of the side, we should have had some experience, like Danny Batt, an experienced centre midfield player and an experienced centre forward, just to bring these lads on and help.
They need somebody to lead them because they're only young, you know what I mean?
And it's in the dressing room as well. When things are not going as well, you need them experienced heads to try and calm people down. But
based on the average age of the squad, which I still think is about 22, 23, maybe 23, 24. If we get this Crespo lad in from Fenerbahce, he's 26. So, and that's compared to the rest of the ages in the side. That is sort of the player we need now. I'd say that fits perfectly into the Speakman ethos that he's going with at the moment.
100%. Ian Curry says Emma loves Gooch. I think we've already established that. Yes, it was KRD in the car park with Barr. He spat the dummy out about the game time, apparently. Ian Wilkinson's experienced centre forward would be perfect. I think we've already, we've been speaking about an experienced centre forward for God knows how long now. And I'm just hoping this Rusjan is probably going to be the experienced one amongst the young lads, isn't he? He's 24. He's got experience of first team football, and he hasn't. There was a statement I think from Speakman did say today that he's going to take some time to bed in and get used to English football, but it's not really what we want to hear. We need somebody to hit the ground running. But I'm guessing that this Mason Burstow is going to be possibly first choice for the time being. Yeah,
it's amazing how this window, considering we woke up in the morning, it was doom and gloom, especially with the I don't know who leaked the Jack Clark stuff. I mean, that for me was, hasn't he got another 2 years left on his contract?
Yeah.
But there's also his agent is apparently, was it Ian Hart? That's what's been and he's been known for like moving players on left, right, and centre. And I think it's him basically just looking to try and force the player forced Jack for a move, saying that he's unhappy.
And I don't believe that. I didn't believe that for a second. He's not playing like he's unhappy. 184 people watching. We're currently on 59 likes. If you don't mind, smash that like button. However long we're on for, we're just going to jump on and discuss what's kind of happened so far. But go on, do you want in, Dave?
Yeah, Ian's obviously mentioned on the chat about, was it Roberts as well as Clark? The things knocking about on the socials that the Roberts deal to Southampton is off now, I believe. It was a £5 million bid put in last night. I don't know whether we've responded to whether we've rejected it, or it may have said to Southampton, come in with a bid in January, because he's got one more year left, hasn't he?
I think the bid 5 million,
2 million add-on fee, wasn't it?
And I think we rejected it. And once we rejected it, they said they weren't going to pay any more, so they pulled out of the deal. That's what was reported this afternoon. Yeah. Ryan McCormack's asking about Danny.
We want for a player. Yeah, for a player that's got one more year left, the fact that we want 8 to 9 million for him, I think that's good business by the club at the end of the day.
Well, it's nice to see the club making a stand and not just getting rid and for the sake of getting rid. I mean, the Ross Stewart situation, clearly, it's looking more and more likely that he just doesn't want to play for us. If rumours are true that we actually, I'm not sure if you've heard this, Emma, but apparently we matched his wage demands, what he wanted, and he still turned it down and didn't want to stay. So if that's the case and he's gone to Southampton and the deal falls through, is there a way back for Ross Stewart at the club?
I think the fans would have him. I really do. But would he give his all? If he didn't want to be at the club, would he actually go out and put his heart on his sleeve every game after game, perform and hit the back of that net power? I don't think he'd have that passion.
That's it. But on the other side of that, if he comes back and then he wants to try and get a move in January, it's a tough one. But I didn't know if the fans would accept him back. Bearing in mind that we've offered him what he wanted. If it is true and he's turned it down, then we know our fans are not the best in them kind of situations.
But listen, at the end of the day, Southampton were always considering, if just come down, they've used the money from Ward-Prowse, they've got the parachute payments, they were going to offer him more. The way how football is now, forget that who's a bigger club here, who's a bigger club there. With the wage demands now, if a club is going to offer you more money, you are going to accept it. It's just the reality of the game now, unfortunately.
That's it. That's just the way football is, isn't it? I'm guessing, look, from his point of view, does he have more of a chance getting promoted at this moment in time back to the Premier League with Southampton? But if he does go there now, and bearing in mind, looks like the Che Adams move to Wolves is off, they've got Adam Armstrong. Is he going to be third choice there? Is he going to get a game when he's fit?
Well, that didn't they? Who's he meant to go to? Is it Wolves and Everton, isn't it?
But I think it's off now. Staying there.
One of I think it was the Everton one's off, but I think the Wolves one could still be.
Right.
Back on. I'm not too sure whether that's only a loan, because I know there was rumours knocking about that Southampton needed to get that deal done for the Stewart one to go through, but I think they'll be fine, to be honest, especially with all the money they have with the Ward-Prowse deal going through this summer.
Well, I think they've made some like £158 million in transfers, because they sold Ward-Prowse, they sold Lavia, they sold the Mags that live in Mentino for 30 odd million, so they've made a fortune, like you say, plus the parachute payments. And Conrad Tankin there says Stewart's rumoured to be going to get 30,000 a week at Southampton. We're not going to pay that hour. But
we can't pay that for anyone, I don't think. Even if listen, it's our second. No team who's going into their second season, the Championship, that's just come up from League One, will be able to pay that amount. No.
I wouldn't give him any reason. I mean, bearing in mind he's played 10 games in the last year, he's not worth that. Ian Richards' bat is probably not going to Cardiff. They just signed Panzo and a centre-half on loan. KTM says wouldn't have Stewart back now the club called his bluff. Give him what he wanted and he still didn't sign. # piss off. David Thompson, Wolves is the one that is definitely off. Ian Curry, loyalty counts for squad now, except Gooch, who was forced out. Weathers just on Twitter now. This is at 9:10. Exclusive. Sunderland star Ross Stewart has failed his Southampton medical and the deal is now off.
Really?
I don't know how true that is, but
Yeah.
that was a rumour this afternoon that apparently he's failed his medical and it came out that it had nothing to do with the medical. But I don't know. That was 2 minutes ago, so I'm not sure.
Wow. We need sort of, with the transfer activity we've got going on now, it's sort of like we need that deal to go through. To be honest, that's the thing. Well, I don't know the actual truth behind that, but.
I mean, I don't know who's reporting that on Twitter, but it's just what Weathers saying there. He's failed his medical, which is a strange one. Like I said, that would now leave us with 5 centre forwards, and we had none this time last week. So George Tyndall says wouldn't give a lad £30,000 made of glass. David Thomas has confirmed. Footy Insider says Stewart deal is off. Keno, the Stewart deal is great for us if it goes through. Ian Whitton says new lads must be good on money from PSG. And Weathers just said there from the Footy Insider on Twitter, 106,000 followers says the Ross Stewart deal is off. So where does that leave Ross Stewart?
I mean,
if January.
Worst case, not. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's two factors here. When he comes back from injury, will he be the same player? And if obviously he has to stay till January now, it's obviously going to be nowhere near what has been offered. But considering the fact that we just think, no, we're not paying that. We can get him on a free next summer.
That leaves in a for us, it's probably bad for us if it doesn't go through. We're going to be left with them now. Like Emma was saying about a player who could not be committed, not being bothered.
Well, I wouldn't go as he's not played football in like 7 months. So, I mean, I think, some of the stuff on Twitter as well, which I don't agree with, saying that Ross should have, I'm annoyed he didn't sign the contract, bye-bye, see you later. He without his goals, we wouldn't have got out of that division. Simple as that. And also, who knows what we could have achieved if he didn't pick up that injury at Fulham last season. Would he still be a Sunderland player by now? What would we have achieved if we had him fit? But then again, we had 4 days after that Fulham FA Cup game, so he may have potentially gone after that if he remained fit. So who knows?
That's it. Ben Hansen, Emma, you said 15 minutes. I've just had to sit through the crap entertainment. I think you're getting wrong there.
I think that's going to be my cue to leave it.
I think that's your summons to get yourself back down to the entertainment, I think.
We'll have a few more drinks. Well, I love you the medias and that, and I'll catch up with everything probably in the morning. And fingers crossed what goes, and we'll see what the rest of the winter brings.
Have a good rest of your holiday.
No worries.
See you later. Bye, everyone.
See you later,
what else is in the chat? Ian Whitton says far too many forwards. Not happy. Like you've just been saying there, Jay, we won't get much for him in January if he, if he comes, let's say he comes back and he scores, 10 to 15 goals between now and January. Do you think we can still command that sort?
No, they will not in the slightest. Even if he stays and then puts us in a good position and he goes in January, that will be a good foundation to build on. I mean, even because I still think, he could have left in January even after that Fulham game if he'd remained fit. And then, but what did we achieve after that? Even with signing, I mean, we didn't bring in a striker, and we were hoping that Sims would still be here. Lampard recalled him, and then Dyche saw the future in him at Everton. Well, technically played a part in Everton staying up last season, so fair play to Sims. But at the same time, we brought in Geldhart to be. We never truly saw the player Geldhart was going to. We had to stick him in a position that he didn't want to be in, but I thought it sort of clicked with Joffrey towards the end, and it the sort of player that he could have been.
I would have loved to have seen Joffrey play alongside Stewart, because I think he would have been the perfect foil for him. But Tom's just made a good point there, and like just been saying, you're all forgetting the club has just spent the Ross money, and now it's come tumbling down. KLD is going to be fuming. Heads will roll.
Well, does Southampton realise he can't play till the end of September?
That's it, isn't it? It's a strange one. Like, you see, offering that sort of money as well for a player who's still a long way from being fit.
Well, there was some pictures of him. Wasn't he doing some runs on the training ground or something like? But he's nowhere near, match sharp. He's probably only just took his cast off, to be honest, if he did have one.
It's a strange one. Ian Curry says, I agree on what you say, Jacob, but the club stood by him. Now he wants off because he thinks he's fit. Well, he's not fit. Thinks some are underplaying how bad of an injury he had. Weathers says 5 strikers FC. I thought he was due back after the international break. Well, no, he's a long way away from being fit yet. I think it was about another 6 or 7 weeks. I think Tony Moore said it could be another 6-7 weeks. DJ Sizzler Watson says last season we played 32 games without Stewart. We would be in the Premier League now if he was in. David Brown says offer Ross Stewart a 3-year deal now on 16,000 a week. Tam is German Crespo not coming? Don't know. So that's kind of put a spanner in the works in Ross not going.
Just bear with me 2 seconds. Just need to get my charger. If you continue with the comments as you're doing, Wayne, that's fantastic.
Just been confirmed that Elliot Embleton has just signed as well. He's got a derby, just been confirmed. Cool Gamerman says, we weren't linked with Facundo Pellistri. Whatever happened to that move? I think that all went quiet very quickly. I'm not sure what happened there. Weathers again just said Elliot Embleton derby's confirmed. Hindustra 1985 has said just read Stewart failed medical at Southampton, deal is off. Nice one, Ian Curry. Just been messaged to say Clark had signed for 17 million and just put only kidding. Well, good joke, but it still wouldn't surprise us. And Will Allen says Embleton on loan. Yes, so Elliot Embleton's gone to Derby County on loan. If you see anything, if you see any rumours or anything on social media, please stick it in the chat. Obviously, because we're on here and we don't see everything. So if you do see anything, please just stick it in, and we'll read them out. Also, we've got 190 people watching. We're currently on 76 likes, so if you don't mind, please hit that like button. Try and get to as many as we can. Also, you can see me and Jake, we've got our Toft t-shirts on tonight, sponsored by Toft. So don't forget, if you head across to the Toft website, you can get a 15% discount on all the clothing by entering SAFC 15 in the checkout. Tom Wilson says, anyone down at EOL? Unfortunately not. It would have been great to have been down there, but there's none of us could get down, unfortunately.
They think that we'd
we're
sending someone down. It's not happening this year, lads. I'm sorry.
I think after that incident, I think the security got tightened. I think extra security was put on the gates after that. Will Rold says, with Gooch gone, is Embleton the only player left in the Premier League days? He is still a Sunderland player, even on loan. I think he possibly is, isn't he? Was Embleton about in the Premier League days? I don't think he was he? I think Gooch is the last player, wasn't from the...
Yeah, Gooch was the last remaining player. Embleton made his debut in the Championship, I think, when we went down on the Common.
I think he did. Robbie Asay says some Southampton sources are playing down that latest report. So who knows what's going on there. I guess until 11 o'clock, that's the one that's going to just roll on till... Weathers has just said that a Southampton new report is saying that the Ross Stewart report is false. So now it's back on again.
Is it on? Is it off? Who knows?
We'll have to wait till 11 o'clock, that one, I think. Alan Carr, what's the ins and outs then, lads? I haven't been keeping up with. So, just to refresh for Alan Carr, so we've definitely confirmed 2 strikers today. We've signed Mason Burstow from Chelsea on a season-long loan, 20-year-old. Looks big and powerful and strong. We've also confirmed the sign of Nazari Ruzian from Zoya Luhansk on a 4-year deal, I think it is, with the option of another year. But there's 2 more at the academy now, having medicals: Timothy Pembele from Lorient and Adil Awushishi from PSG. One's a right back and one's a winger, come forward player who can play across the front 3 or 4. We're also linked with a guy called Miguel Crespo, a centre midfield player from Ferencváros, and that's where we are at the moment. Outgoings, Elliot Embleton's gone to Derby on loan. Danny Batt could possibly still be leaving, even though a move to Cardiff fell through. Pritchard is staying. Elliot Embleton's gone to Derby on loan. I think it's for the rest of the season. And Pritchard is staying. I have to say, Roberts is staying. He's not going to Southampton. That deal is off. And I think that's kind of where we are, I think. Alan again says, what type of player is Crespo? So from what I can gather, what I've been reading, he's kind of a defensive midfield player, which is kind of with experience. I think that's kind of what we've been crying out for. In that, I mean, I don't know whether you've seen the report earlier on, Jacob, about Dan Neil being possibly linked with Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, my heart sunk when I heard that. This was probably the most rubbish rumour. Dan Neil to Liverpool, and then they were going to offer us one of that Curtis Jones, I think, as part of the deal. Yeah,
Never going to happen.
Absolutely not.
Alan Carson, sounds good. Thanks for the update. Let's hope we found a gem. Well, fingers crossed. You know, some of them players hit the ground and have a great season. Ian Curry says Herman Crespo's son. Well, I think this Crespo's Portuguese, so I don't think it's Herman Crespo's son. But I guess we just have to wait and say, you know, it's getting a bit. I mean, what time is it now? It's nearly 10 o'clock, is it? No, sorry, 9:20. Ian Wilton says, are these players going to get a game? Well, we've already seen the likes of Triatis and Sealed who haven't gotten games in the first team yet. So I don't know. At some point, they will be given the chance. You know, I think it was a while before, like we've been speaking, Michu and even Ahmad didn't get a game straight away, did he? So have to wait and see. Tom Wilson's hoping we can get Crespo. He will be a great signing. Richie Duggan says Herman. So again, that's a one. I think. I don't know how close that one is, but I think it might be a way off. It's not concrete. And now we've made contact with them this afternoon. Alfie House on X says, Tom says Alfie House on X, the response I've got regarding that Ross Stewart report is that it's completely false. Well, looks like somebody...
It's back on now, isn't it? Well, it looks like it.
It looks like there's somebody kind of stirring the shite a little bit there. Harry Football liking SAFC says use Ross Stewart and Clark money for Ahmad. Well, I don't even think both their money together could buy.
Ahmad's still out injured at the moment, isn't he?
He is. He's not back. Well, they're looking like another 6-7 weeks, possibly. I think so. I think it'll be looking like a loan deal. I think for him.
He probably may go abroad somewhere when he's fit.
I would think so. Ben Allison says, hi lads. And Ryan McCormack says, I've heard Tony Mowbray's brother is head of recruitment at Southampton, so that's why they wanted our players. That's actually true. Tony Mowbray's brother is head of recruitment. I think he came down from Scottish football to Southampton in the summer. So he is actually head of recruitment. So, you know, Tony Mowbray should be telling his brother what I can do more, I think. Currently 199 people watching, and we're currently on 88 likes. So, you know, please hit that like button if you don't mind. Like I say, if anything you want reading out, just stick in the chat, or if there's any rumours that you've heard, or anything on the social media, stick it in there and we'll read it out. But overall, you know, possibly 11 signings, and the players that have gone out, you know, we've lost the likes of Lahaji, Winchester, Anderson, Wright, Dejaku, and now obviously Everton's gone out on loan as well. You know,
Anderson was alone as well, wasn't it?
Anderson was alone, wasn't he? So overall, I mean, I think it's looking like it could be a good window after a lot of negativity that was flying about this time yesterday morning. You know, Christian Speakman seems to have pulled his finger out and you know, done what he said he was going to do. How these players are going to fit in, or how they're going to settle into life in the Championship, we don't know. But what's your overall thoughts on our business?
Overall, effective, I'd say, but only time will tell how these signings settle in. Give it 3 or 4 months for them to fully show how much of an impact they can make this season. I mean, it will take time. It's a young squad. This squad took time last season, but it delivered in the latter stages. So hopefully the same thing can happen again, but I'm optimistic this season.
Nice one. Mickey Max says, what time are you on air till tonight, lads? Well, I think we'll be heading off very shortly. I think we'll be on an hour or so.
In terms of other deals that could go through, obviously the Crespo one from Fenerbahce, a midfielder. I think, like I said before, that could all depend on whether Danny Bart stays or goes. And also, I believe a midfielder from Blackburn was linked as well.
Joe Buckley.
Yeah, Joe Buckley, but I think he's elsewhere now, I believe.
I think he's available for 3 million, and I think Swansea bid for him, but he's turned that move down because he wants to move. He wants to stay in the north. So, and I think Tony Mowbray gave him his debut at Blackburn when he was young, and I think Tony Mowbray likes him. So, that might be another one who gets closer to the deadline. That might depend on the Crespo deal falling through. I'm guessing if the Crespo deal falls through, they might go for Buckley. I'd like them both, but Ian Wilson says only a good window if they're better than what is on the pitch right now. Comment. Ian Curry says, Jacob, where are you from, mate?
North London, my friend.
Not there. There's your answer. Alan Clark, we love the older players. We do have to try and improve. Well, I think that's relating to the likes of Gooch. I think like Jacob, you said, didn't you? Although he's been a fantastic servant. If the club's looking to the future, would he be the type of player who you would want in the Premier League? Possibly not.
Yeah, I think he's more closer to the side of 30 now as well. I think even though he's 3 years off it, but that's not the type of player that Speakman would bring in. Apart from the odd occasion, you did bring in Pritchard and also Dax come in as well, but very rarely he's gone for those type of players. It's all about youth now. That's the motto of the transfer window, or the type of transfer window that we want to aim for, and we've just got to trust that it's another decent job like it was last season, to be fair.
You're right. I 100% agree. Rob SAFC, you're getting all the questions now, Jacob. How the heck did you get supporting Sunderland from North London?
Probably been. Mum grew up in Roker, about a 10-minute walk from Roker Park, and Dad's from Peterlee in County Durham, so in the blood, mate.
In the blood. Yeah.
My name engraved into a brick on the Stadium of Light as well, top row, panel 17. So there was only one club for me, my friend. One club.
Ian Curry says, a true Macklem through and through, Jacob, you bleed red and white.
Of course. Hence the scarves.
Hence the scarves. Conrad Tank says, 200 viewers, stream until all the transfer dust is settled. Well, that could be another hour and 40 minutes. I don't know what kind of state we'd be in by then.
Last Palmer's Mackham Arsenal's not a place, by the way. God's sake.
Cheers, gentlemen. Mickey Mac, thumbs up. SAFC 83 says a good deal for Stewart, considering he's had 2 bad injuries. A good player like Dan Ortiz is Waverley going to the EOL? Unfortunately, not.
Is it Grafton?
He's a grafter, because he's a grafter. Keno says, cheers, gentlemen. On to tomorrow. How are the lads? Yes, as we know, it's an early kick-off tomorrow. Potentially with the same team that played against Coventry, with obviously none of these new lads have been signed in time, so it's going to be kind of the same team against Coventry, with possibly Pritchard in for Bar.
Yeah, that would be the most realistic change, I guess.
But either way, it's going to be a very difficult game tomorrow.
So I'd take a point now, to be honest with you.
I would. I've gone for a 2-2. I would take that all day, but again, just have to be
Adam Armstrong, you can tell he'll be right. Ex-mag. So.
And he's scoring goals for fun. scoring goals for free. I think he scored 4 in the first 3 games, and he at this level, he's a great forward. And if G Adams is still a Southampton player, they've got a great forward line and all, you know. So, Tom says Phil Smith at Phil Smith SAFC, still expecting Ross Stewart to go to Saints at this stage. Let's see what happens. So with like an hour and a half to go, we've kind of thrashed out all the deals, what possibly could happen. With barring any last minute surprises, I'm guessing that's kind of where we're gonna finish off, aren't we? The 2 that are on it, having a medical at the moment, possibly Joe Buckley, possibly Miguel Crespo, and I think that'll be us just about done. Any final thoughts, Jacob, before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty. Obviously we touched on a central midfield player coming in, but even if we weren't to get that, I'm relatively satisfied with the business that's been done today. It looks like, I mean, it sounds like that Stewart rumour of him not going and the deal falling through is a load of rubbish. So yeah, it's some people would like that, some people wouldn't like that, but yeah, it looks like that deal can go through and we can use the Stewart money to great effect now. So like I said, only time will tell if these signings turn out to be good ones, but it's all about getting behind the lads now, isn't it? Business done, roll on the rest of the season.
100%, like I say, it doesn't matter where they are, where they've come from, we'll always support them. No matter when they're on that pitch, we'll always get behind them, won't we? That's just the way we are. So one final comment from Ian Curry says he's having an 8-foot by 6-foot poster made with a 1975-76 team made by Image Data. I'm going to auction it for charity. So when you get that made, good shout. We'll definitely have a shout of that on the channel. So just let us know when it's done. We'll have some pictures. So that's it. Like I said, there was 172 watching. We've actually got that 100 likes, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much for everybody who's tuned in. Like I said, just to jump on and give everybody an update on where we are.
Hit the button as well if you haven't done that.
Yeah, hit the subscribe and the like button as well. But watch out for Thursday night live, where we'll be having reviews, reviewing the transfer window when the dust's all settled. Then we'll be reviewing the Southampton game. Then we'll have our national break, and we last game. Then we've got in our QPR away as the next game after Southampton. So, final thoughts, Jake? Just want to say it's all right, really. Yeah,
as I always say, guys, keep the faith.
Thanks for watching. Thanks all for watching. Appreciate everybody with the chat's been, good to everybody contributing. Let's hope there's no more outs that we don't want, and hopefully we'll get these other 2 players in, or possibly 3. So, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Ta-ra.